Welcome, everybody. My name is Tana, this is Rainierbooks, and welcome to another wrap-up. This week has been week number 9 of the year of 2021. I'm going to speak about what I have read last week, what I have started reading last week, what I will be reading next week, and some other things that happened around us. So let's get started. Week number 9 was a good reading week for me, actually. I finished 2 books that both were from the library, and I also returned them there to Vluyingen, I think on Friday, which is 2 days ago. And the one was, I shouldn't say anymore, okay? The first one I finished was Caste by Isabel Wilkerson, a 5-star read, absolutely great. So I finished Caste by Isabel Wilkerson, which is a book where she points out that the origins of our discontent in the United States, at least, are based on a caste system that was pretty much established immediately after the beginning of slavery in 1619. And that has been going on for more than 400 years now, 402 years until 2021. And there's still systemic racism everywhere in the United States. It's a great book. It's a compelling book. I made a single review about it, and I'll link it up there so that you can watch it if you haven't seen it. The second book that I finished last week was Ian Rankin from Scotland. Ian Rankin's novel A Song for the Dark Times, a thriller about the now retired former detective inspector John Rebus from Edinburgh in Scotland. He's retired. His daughter Samantha calls him late at night, and she says that her husband has disappeared, and she is one of the suspects, naturally, because in murder cases always the closest to the murder victim or the disappeared in that case are the suspects. The body is soon found. Rebus drives up from Edinburgh North. This is an unusual Rebus because he's not in Edinburgh most of the time in the book. He is in the vicinity of Tongue, one of the northernmost points of Scotland, I believe. And he's trying to help his daughter, but his relationship to his daughter is very difficult due to the upbringing of Samantha, when Rebus took only care of his career and of his job, which he has always done all of his life, and he's trying to get a little bit closer to his daughter, but it's difficult. The case is solved in the end, but what I didn't like about this novel, I liked Rebus. Rebus is such a great guy. He's such a great fictional character. What I didn't like was that Siobhan Clarke, the former assistant of John Rebus, still working at the Edinburgh Police Department, she burns a CD for Rebus. Rebus is moving because he has this lung disease, COPD, and he cannot walk up the stairs in his old house anymore, so he gets a new flat. And he also gets a CD burned by Siobhan Clarke, and this CD has the title A Song for the Dark Times, which is the title of the novel. We learn about a few songs of this DVD, of this CD, but we don't have a complete playlist. So I reckon that would have been great if you would have added the playlist of that CD to your novel. I would have given it a half-star more. So I enjoyed reading that, and 2 books finished this week. This was really good reading. I have started 3 new ones because life is short and we have to read more than 1 book at a time. I started another thriller, and I stay on the British Isles. I didn't walk. I traveled from Scotland to Ireland. And in Ireland, the Republic of Ireland, I read this book. This book has taken place in the Republic of Ireland. This is Tana French, and this is The Searcher, which I, as you can see, got from the library. It's from Rankin Bibliotheek. I hope you can see that here. No, you can't. Rankin Bibliotheek. Tana French is a very established crime author from Ireland. She has written a novel that starts very, very well. She's developing her story extremely well. I think the first 3 chapters I'm in about Chicago Police Department retiree. His name is Cal. He's 48 years old. For some reason, he moves to Ireland to buys a small cottage in the rural area. We get to know him, we get to know the cottage, we get to know the village, we get to know a boy who is sort of watching, surveilling Cal, and things are going to happen. But this is very well done, and it's a very good start. The second book, which I also like reading very much, a great time has started, right? Is The 9 Lives of Pakistan by Declan Walsh. Declan Walsh was a correspondent for The Guardian and for the New York Times in Pakistan. He lived there for many years. And I think in 2013, that's where the book starts actually, he was expelled from the country. He was declared persona non grata, and he had to leave the country within 48 hours notice. So that was pretty difficult for him. And he is then, from this starting point, explaining what he has experienced in the country. It's definitely is going to be a surprising book about Pakistan, because already in the first 2 chapters here, I read a lot of things about Pakistan, and that's also what Declan Walsh is saying, that you never expect. For example, in a country where alcohol is actually forbidden, as far as I understand, is that true? There is a whiskey manufacturer, a whiskey brewer, who is one of the most successful entrepreneurs in the country, and he's selling his whiskey to a lot of people in Pakistan. The third book that I started on this little device here, on the Kindle, is my buddy read with Margaret Pennard in her great project, March of the Moderns. I started reading E.M. Forster's novel, A Passage to India from 1925, 96-year-old novel. It's a good start as well. So I like all the 3 books that I have started yet, and I'm pretty confident to be able to finish them. Not this week, not all of them, maybe one this week and maybe the rest a little later. With A Passage to India, I have time until March 26. I think Margaret is going to tell you what happens on March 26. You should save the date. That I can tell you. Apropos that I can tell you. That was an expression that former president of the United States used. I got 2 new books from the library. I don't know how I can fit them and shove them into my TBRs. One book that I don't want to read anymore, but I think I liked the interviews with her, so maybe I'm giving it a try, is Mary L. Trump, Too Much and Never Enough. How My Family Created the World's Most Dangerous Man, about the 45th President of the United States. Pretty short, 200 pages, I guess. The second book is a novel. I had that novel on a longer list of the predictions for the Women's Prize. I'll come back to that. But it didn't end up on my 16 long list. So this is White Ivy by Suzy Yang. Robert from Barter Hordes, I think, has read this book or is reading that book right now. So I will give that book a try if I managed to come to that, hopefully. Talking about the Women's Prize, on Wednesday there will be the announcement for the Women's Prize, and I'm going to send live, I'm not that sure, my live reaction to the Women's Prize long list, 16 books. I ordered a couple of books from my prediction list that I published last, that I will put up here for you to see. So this is almost everything about books. I have to look on my notes here. I finished already 2 weeks ago. I watched the Netflix show Making a Murderer, which I would highly recommend. It consists of, I think, 10 episodes, Making a Murder from 2016, and it's about a murder case. Was that Wisconsin? I think, when you really can see what forced confessions, or confessions that are almost forced after long hours of sitting, and what they can produce for problems in America. When you are accused of a crime, you always would think, oh, not me, I'm innocent. What can happen to me? But if you are innocent, bad things can happen to you. And I think that Making a Murder shows that in a very special way, because the guilt of both the accused in that murder case is not proven beyond reasonable doubt, in my eyes at least. And the lawyers who lawyered up for the defendants, I think, thought the same thing. And especially the younger guy, a 17-year-old boy who was forced to a confession with low IQ, who has been sitting in prison now for more than 20 years already, and who has to be in prison for 27 more years. This 17-year-old guy is absolutely innocent, I'm sure about that. He confessed of murdering a woman. He confessed of cutting her throat in a room of his uncle. But in that room where he said he committed the crime, there's not a single drop of blood to be found. And that's impossible. We know that, right? From all our CSI, from all our shows that we watch, that it's not impossible to kill someone, to have a bloody sort of murder without that blood stains are left. But it's incredible because the confession, confession is not to be proven. It's impossible to prove the confession of this 17-year-old boy. But still, the jury believes him, the court believes him, and he's sentenced to life in prison. Parole first in 2048. Watch Making a Murder and you really start doubting about the American justice system. A podcast recommendation comes here. 2 podcast recommendations. While we were reading. That's my new segment. While we were reading. I also listened, while you were reading, I was listening to the podcast Renegades, Born in the USA with Bruce Springsteen and Barack Obama. And they have talked for Spotify. It's a Spotify original. And it's a great podcast that I would highly recommend you to listen to about these 2 guys. Springsteen, I think about 10, 12 years older than Obama. They have a lot to say to each other, and it's a great story. A great discussion they have. I also want to recommend you a podcast that you probably maybe don't know. It's called Reveal, and it's done and produced by the Center for Investigative Reporting in the United States. And this morning, actually, I was listening to the latest edition, which is about workers in American care homes, and especially one care home, but this could stand for many, 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 many care homes all over the country, says Reveal, where workers are employed, for example, workers with roots in the Philippines who earn $2 per hour. There was a woman and she earns $50 in a 24-hour day. And she was even cheated by her employer. Many of these people who work elder care in the United States work for ridiculous wages below the minimum wage. And this is really important to listen to and important to act upon as well. So while we were reading, I also introduced this week the Post-Soviet Book Club. Actually yesterday, when the Soviet national anthem came instead of my opening jingle. I hope you didn't get scared. One of my friends got scared, she told me. Post-Soviet Book Club is going to start on May 1st, and with reading Sergei Lebedev, Untraceable, published by New Vessel Press in 2021. And we're going to continue with Oksana Zabushko's Museum of Abandoned Secrets in July, another book that is interesting to read, I guess. All about the Soviet Book Club now every week down below. If you are interested, please let me know. I'm still haven't set up the Discord forum because it's not so easy. I do it for the first time. I try my best. I want to find a platform where we can have a chat in both audio and maybe even in video, and where we can be together, those who are in the book club, and can discuss things in a safe and for free atmosphere. Stay tuned to that through the Soviet Book Club. That was all I had to talk about this time on this Sunday, I guess. As I said, next Wednesday comes the list, but next Tuesday is time for another video. It looks like it's going to be a TBR. I'm not sure yet. We'll see. So until then, socially distance, wear a mask, wash your hands, and stay safe. I see you very soon, and I'm happy about that. Bye-bye.